Howdy, y'all. This is Proverbs 18 in the New Messianic Version for September 18th, 2023. Through desire, a man, having separated himself, seeks, intermeddles with all wisdom. A fool has no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. When the wicked cometh, cometh also contempt, and with contempt reproach. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters, the wellspring of wisdom, a flowing brook. Not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calls for strokes. A fool's mouth, his destruction, his lips, the snare of his soul. The words of a talebearer as wounds, they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. The name of the Lord Jehovah, a strong tower, the righteous runs into it and is safe. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and is a high wall in his own conceit. Before destruction the heart of a man is arrogant, and before honor, humility. He that answers a matter before he hears, it's folly and shame unto him. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit, who can bear it? The heart of the prudent gets knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. A man's gift makes room for him, and brings him before great men. First in his own cause, just, but his neighbor cometh and searcheth him. Searches. The lot causes contentions to cease, and parts between the mighty. A brother offended than a strong city, and contentions like the bars of a castle. A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. Death and life in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Whoso finds a good wife finds a good thing, and obtains favor from the Lord. The poor uses entreaties, but the rich answers roughly. A man that has friends must show himself friendly, and there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. I don't have a brother. I've got chosen family, for sure, and people that I call brother. But to have somebody that sticks closer than a brother, we know who is being talked about here, right? This is, Moshiach. This is the Messiah. This is Yeshua, Jesus. And all I can say is we can take comfort in that, because when we feel like we're all alone, there's somebody still there going through it with us. So, through desire, a man separates himself, seeks and intermeddles with all wisdom. It's intentional, right? This journey that I've been on, it's intentional. It started with my little David Jeremiah Focus Life book, which was Psalms and Proverbs. And at some point in there, I started listening to the Streetlights app every day, listening to the Proverbs, sometimes one, sometimes the whole book. I gotta love the Streetlights app. I owe them a link, and much better reading with beats than what I do here. So if you do enjoy my reading and you would like better reading, check out the Streetlights app. They do a great job. But it has taken me separating myself and focusing and doing this. I do this in the car. I do this in the house. I do this in my head. This is just all the time. I'm just trying to literally meditate on this wisdom and try to draw what I can out of it. me adjust this camera. I just realized this whole time I may have been blocking the mic. That and 1,000. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook. There's like levels to what we say, right? There's what we say. There's what we mean. There's what is heard. There's what is interpreted. And there's what's taken in. And then there are like the words you actually used, right? So a third party listening could be like, well, you said that, but I don't think those words matched. And then on top of all that, I'm going to say 80 because that's what's commonly cited. But let's just say a majority of human communication is nonverbal. So all those variables in there, and it still matters how we speak to people and how we don't speak to people and what our body language looks like. Deep waters, right? It's deep. I was laughing at this to myself as I read it. A fool's lips enter into contention. They want to argue. They're gonna bait you. They're gonna say little things to get you going, right? His mouth calls for strokes. It's not nice strokes. It's strokes, right? Because you can't listen to this foolishness anymore. So you want to shut his mouth for him. Look, there's nothing new under the sun. And Solomon's the homeboy that said that in Ecclesiastes. So these are all known human experiences, right? Fool's mouth is his destruction because it gets a buffalo tuning. And his lips, the snare of a soul. Because you can get yourself trapped by what you say. Truth and lies, you know? Watch what you say. Watch promises you make. Watch threats you make. Watch your mouth. Now, this one strikes me too today. The words of a talebearer as wounds. They go down into the innermost parts of the belly. When somebody says something about you and it's true, it can hurt, right? But when somebody says something about you and it's a lie, it's not even gossip. It's just like something to take you down a peg that's not true. That affects you differently, right? Because you can't do anything about it. There's no rebuttal to be like, nuh-uh. But to know that somebody said that about you, thinks that about you, and now other people have heard that. I'm an easy target. My entire life I've been an easy target because I largely do my own thing within constraints, right? If I'm not doing anything wrong, who cares if I have crazy hair? I used to have spikes. I used to have a mohawk when I actually took better care of myself, I suppose. Chose to start the beard thing like a decade ago. And for better or worse, I've been joking in the last couple days. I made a comment to a guy, but it's true. The beard makes me louder and more aggressive. People see that and it's suddenly like, not kids. Kids see me as, what's his face? Harry Potter. Dumbledore? I don't know. That's like Star Wars Light, right? Should just rewrote it. Don't at me. Go watch Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. But either way, kids are not intimidated by this. And kids aren't intimidated by the spiky hair and stuff. They think it's cool. And it is cool. But people will take an opportunity to say things about you that may not be true, but they're easy enough to believe, right? So, say what you want about me. I've learned to shrug this off, right? And these things are between the Lord and I. But again, nothing new under the sun. and goes down into the innermost parts of the belly. It upsets your guts, right? It upsets your stomach to hear something like that. And this, so he that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. Over the last several years, I've had a number of opportunities, and I've just not been able to seal the deal or effectively follow through. Now, I have a couple of thoughts on that, but that's the reality, right? And that's shame on me. But I constantly feel like I'm not doing enough, right? So then I got to entertain my parents this past weekend, and that's great. And I love my parents. They're like my favorite people on the planet. But it just highlights, like, I feel like there's always another something I can do in the day. And my house is super evident. And my yard's super evident because I'm a natural farmer, right? So I'm building soil, I'm growing things, I'm multiplying plants, and it's just everywhere. It is not a lawn. I am not interested in grass. I am not mowing it. But there's still tending that needs to happen. We've been in a drought, so everything looks terrible. A lot of stuff died. What excuse do I have? Well, I'm inside with 3 kids who constantly want to be fed, and the laundry, and the dishes, and the picking up, and the homeschooling, and me just trying to be a person, and the fact that I'm trying to build things like apps and stuff like that. Where does the time go? And then wifey gets home, we hang out for a few minutes, don't even get to cuddle because we got the little baby who's cuddling with her, sit with her, high five, I go out to work, and to record this if I need to do it at night. And that's difficult too, because again, this has been a personal journey for me. There's nobody behind me pushing, and there's nobody behind me keeping me accountable. It's me and the Lord here. Wife does not care. It's the reality of the situation. It's not her for her to care or to worry about me in this regard. Doubly so because I'm the dude and the husband and supposed to be shepherding her and discipling her. Lord knows if I can't keep myself straight, being responsible for other people is just nerve-wracking, right? I digress. There was a song, but the point is, the slothful in his work is brother to him that is a waster. I feel like I've wasted so many resources by not being able to fully utilize them, but then there's also an understanding of, like, I was not correct and sorted, so of course I couldn't complete it, right? And I can be like 4 Spider-Mans pointing fingers at myself, like, well, you should have done this, and you could have done this, and it should. Like, I even got it on my cane that I had to walk with. In this life, there's only forward. That's it. We exit this coil. Maybe we can zip front, back, and the other after, being with the Lord. But we cannot do anything about it in this timeline or in the afterlife. It's only forward. Try and not beat yourself up about it. Stay standing. Move on. But, it's hard. You lament lost opportunities. And then you expect yourself to be able to do better, right? And to be more serious about everything. How can other people do all these things? And you can't get it together. Well, many people don't have the crazy collection of projects and research goals and things like that I do. And I don't expect to be understood. I also don't expect to be lied about. And I do my best to be diligent. That's why these verses, all these chapters about diligence hit home with me so much, is because like this. If you're slothful in your work, your brother to him that's a great waster. I have a couple of different efforts that are currently dark or shuttered in the name of sorting out files, books, my house, getting it as organized as possible so that I don't have concurrent things running and making it worse. However, the flip side is those are the things I need to be more disciplined about to do. And the secondary jobs, or the primary, but the other jobs of just the day-to-day and getting organized, I just got to figure it out. I got to get more done in a day or in an hour. And then I get little pokes like this in the verses, and it's like, I'm trying. Let me just tell you, I got a lot of anhedonia going on. Things that normally give me pleasure, like they're out the window. So dealing with those kind of episodes again lately. But even coffee, I can drink several pots a day, and at best I get like twitchy, but I'm not getting a stimulant boost. But what am I going to do? So it's not motivation you need, it's discipline. Motivation just activates the discipline every day. And that's what I'm trying to cultivate. That's what I'm trying to divide up my day and plan out every hour, every 15-minute chunk of my day, and know where I'm going to be and what I'm doing. It's difficult because I'm a gig worker currently, on top of everything else. So, like right now, it's almost midnight. I'm going to drive till 2 or 3 a.m., depending on how busy orders are. Then I got to get some sleep. Somewhere in there, I got to have a shower before I go to sleep. I need to clean up the living room before I'm allowed to do that, and switch the laundry before I go to sleep. And then in a few hours, I got to get up because at 7 a.m., I got to be somewhere to pick up a catering order to bring that. So I don't even have a normal people schedule of, well, I'm going to wake up at this time, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and the boys will wake up, and we'll do that. I'm doing the best I can. And my diligence looks different than your diligence. Your diligence is going to look different than their diligence. So if you're still listening to this for some reason, avoid comparing yourself to other people, lest you fall into traps like I do. Focus on your own life. Spend that energy, spend that mental time, and just do what you got to do. It was a brilliant day outside. The boys were playing with the science kit when parents went to the airport. So I got to work outside for a little while. It's weird that when I was younger, weeding was punishment, among other things. Now it's one of those things like I want to do it because I'm chopping and dropping and making more compost. Anyway, the name of the Lord is like a strong tower. The righteous runs into it and is safe. We used to sing that as a song, a hymn. We put it up on the little acetate projector, right? So the name of the Lord is like a strong tower. The righteous will run into it and be glad. I keep singing, but I feel like I did this once before, maybe in the third month. I'll actually sing more lines of the song. Stuck in your head. This is part of writing it on, binding it around your neck and your finger, writing it on your heart, because you're going to remember it. Once it goes down into you, it will come out of you in times of need. I had several months ago, all I could think was like In the Light by DC Talk. And that's where I've been not struggling, but moving towards struggling too, is just be in the light, walk in the light. The rich people depend on their wealth for their safety. But before destruction, the heart of a man is arrogant. Before honor is humility. Just be humble. You're here to serve. I'm here to serve. Everybody is here to serve. That's it. Accept your role. I heard this yesterday. Your responsibilities may change, but your role will never change. Your role is service. What you do as a service, that can expand, contract, and change, but you're in the service industry, homies. This, he that hears a matter before he hears it, folly and shame unto him. Hear all sides of the story. especially if it's not your thing to pass judgment on. You're going to speak up and pass judgment. This is why gossip's so bad, right? Oh, this person did that. Oh, you know what they should do? No. You don't know the whole story. Don't speak up. Shh. Like with so many videos, right? That I've said. Just keep your freaking trap shut. Shh. Listen. What's it? 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Supposed to be doing twice as much listening as we are talking. And this, yeah, facts. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit, who can bear? When our psyche is damaged, life, right, seems unbearable. If your psyche, if your spirit's intact, disease, hurt, injury, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem to matter. You can kind of press on. But once you have like a mental illness or you have something like that, it makes everything difficult. I'm going to run out of time again. I got about a minute. Oh, looks like I got somebody hanging out with me again. So the lot causes contentions to cease and parts between the mighty. Using the ATM. He's watching to see what I'm doing. Hanging out at a bank because of the good lighting. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, certainly. They that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. I'm not sure what else to say. I'm going to run out of time here in a moment, but the poor uses entreaties. The rich answers roughly. Again, the rich are trusting in their money because, hey, I'm rich. I can do whatever I want, right? And gentlemen, whoso finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. I recently came into a group on Facebook of gentlemen coming to reformed Christian faith and reforming their bodies. I'm glad to have come into contact with these guys. We may not agree with everything theologically speaking, but if we can agree that Jesus came, died,